Hi guys, so my name is Vaibhav Arora. I'm with Shashank Jain, who is an investment associate at Stakeboat Capital. So, sir, I have digged about you in LinkedIn as much as I could, but I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience. If you can just give a brief introduction about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Evav, for inviting me to this forum and for giving me a chance to speak to fellow listeners. So, I'm Shashank Jain, currently working in a private equity fund named as Stakeboat Capital, based out of Bangalore. So, that's a $200 million fund, and we are invested typically in healthcare, B2B technology, and manufacturing domains. So I joined the company in around 9 months back before, just after pursuing my MBA, 1 year MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. And before that, I have close to 7 years of experience in the field of financial services. I started my career at BlackRock in its fixed income portfolio management division. And post that, I shifted to Duff and Phelps in its alternative asset advisory division, where I was advising the private equity and the venture capital clients with respect to the valuation of their portfolio companies. So, overall, on the educational front, I'm a CFA charter holder. I have cleared one exam of FRM as well, cleared all the exams of CFP, have got an MBA from Ahmedabad, and did my undergraduation from Sri Sukhdeo College of Business Studies, Delhi University, graduated in 2013. So, that's a bit about me. Thank you once again, and happy to talk to you and clear any doubts that you might have over the journey.
I would take 2, 3 lifetimes to achieve the things that you have achieved in a very short period of time. So I would just like to know about what are your roles and responsibilities in the company, what is your day-to-day operation and stakehold, and what is the function of an investment associate.
Sure. Thank you for that. So essentially, my day-to-day responsibilities and 80% of the job is about the investment evaluation. So the whole job is whether we should invest in a particular company or not. And with regards to that, we need to know in and about of the company, whether it's about reading the research reports, getting thorough knowledge of what exactly is happening in the company, what exactly products does it manufacture, does it produce, why are the customers wanting its product, what is the moat of the company, and talking to, and we for that we need to have a thorough knowledge about the industry, about the company, and it involves researching a lot on through your secondary research on Google, through company, talking to management, talking to bankers, and besides that, the primary research as well, talking to the industry executives, industry people who are very active, who are experts in this particular industry. So 80% of the job will be that, evaluating a particular investment. Apart from that, I'm involved on the fundraising side as well. So currently, a private equity fund, when you need the money to deploy, when you're deploying the money, you need to raise the funds as well. So I'm involved on that part as well. And a lot of my focus goes on the fund operations as well, tracking the money, tracking where is it coming from, where is it going, to be aware about the financials of the fund, not just the companies that we are investing in, but about the company as well. But that's just like 10% of the job, or 10% is fundraising. 80% would be, I would say, evaluating the investments. And starts a day, the day starts at 10 and there's no end time. So one will be in like at least 4 to 5 meetings during the day, and still we'll completing 3 to 4 research reports, writing 2 to 3 industry notes or company notes. So there's a lot of work that goes on. In fact, right now as well, besides talking to you, before talking to you, I was working. After talking to you, I will be working.
So I particularly is also got an inclination towards investment with something what a very popular show that has come out, that is Shark Tank. From there, I
Yeah,
also got
yeah.
a little bit inclination towards investing. So I wanted to ask, apart from
Sure.
your job, what made you choose finance? Means, how is the process of eliminating and deciding that if someone wants to see, in my case, I'm a first year student. Now I have to choose my electives. I
Mhm.
have to choose which domain I want my career to go in. So how did you choose finance, and what was the process that you used in order to choose finance as a domain that you want to work in?
Sure. So, Vaibhav, there's one thing I would really clarify. At the stage that you are in the first year, I'm not sure undergrad or MBA. Is it MBA or
Yes,
undergrad?
MBA first year.
Okay, MBA first year. So even then, it's very tough for a particular youngster to know basically what he wants to do in life, and for anyone for that matter. I used to plan a lot in my undergrad. I will be doing this and that, and the first job that I did, I never thought that I will be doing that. So it's very tough to know in advance. Okay, what exactly do you want to do? So few things I think were crucial for me was you have to be really passionate about it. You have to be passionate about numbers. You have to be passionate about companies. You have to be passionate about the financial statements to be able to make career in the field of finance, or for that matter, anything at all. Obviously, within finance, there are multiple domains. There are multiple. You could be either private equity, public equity, fixed income or equity, or you could be doing quantitative finance, or you could be doing more of a operations kind of a role. There are multiple domains in which you can operate in within finance as well. And these are things people realize slowly. People realize after being in job for 1 or 2 years, they realize, okay, this is not something I want to do. There's something much better for me, or let's say there's something I should try, something else and in fact, when they try something new, they find that okay, probably the previous one was better, or probably that after that they need to try something third thing as well. The important thing is that when you are not comfortable with something, switch fast, and then find something that okay, that would really, that you think would be really suitable for you. And apart from that, as I told you, you have to be really passionate. It's the only thing I would say which led me to choose finance. Even though within finance, I have shifted my domain 3 times, working from 3 different companies in totally 3 different domains. And right now, I think have got an knack. At the age of 29, after having worked for 8 years, I know that, okay, this is what I want to do, perhaps. But if I were to tell you at the undergrad level, it's very tough. Well, just have to be passionate.
For me, it's going like a process of elimination. Every time I do an internship in a particular domain,
Yeah,
I'm like, this is not what I want to do. This is not what I want to do. Okay.
yeah. It's going to be trial and error. I'm telling you. People obviously you would have something in mind. There would be a lot of research that you will be doing. There will be a lot of people you will be speaking, but your heart will know what it will know when you actually come to do it. And there's one advice I really want to give. Like, just because you spend like 3 years or 4 years in a particular domain, and if you hate it, and if you don't see any particular growth, don't continue with it. Even if you think that okay, the next job that I switch in will probably pay me less, or let's say will not I might not be successful in that, do not stick with that. That is the biggest mistake anyone can make, because if you don't switch after 3 years, you definitely won't switch after 10 years. You definitely will be working in that for 30 years. That's a very important aspect.
So the two takeaways that I can take is follow your passion, and when you feel like switch it in 3 years, because once you get into that, once you
Yeah,
deep
yeah.
dive into that, it's very difficult to switch. And so for young students, for
Indeed.
yes, so for young students that are freshers, and in MBA there are number of people who also have work else. So for these freshers, how do they build their profile if they want to go into finance? If they have decided that I have taken finance, now I want to build a career into this. So what are the certification? What are the courses? How can they build a profile so that they can compete with these guys and they do not get removed from the first shortlist only for financial companies?
Yeah, yeah. I can totally understand. So we recently went to Ahmedabad for recruiting, and the only people we were looking for the people who had prior experience in finance. So I can totally understand that. I can totally get you how it could become difficult. So there are two things I would say that could help you. One is the internal part. That is what you can do on your behalf to work on your profile. The certification that could matter, CFA is one of the very respected certification in the, or let's say charter in the financial field. It's very highly regarded as well. That's something that one could do. Besides that, build a profile in a manner that you are in associated clubs, like financial clubs. So when I joined IIM Ahmedabad, I was president of their financial club. So the PGPX club, and join the financial club, engage in the debate and discussion, and keep enhancing your knowledge. Keep like working on like creating a brand for yourself. So when I did my undergrad, what I used to do was I did my CFP at that time. I did my FRM at that time, and what I used to do was used to research a lot and used to start writing my research reports, and then I used to actually distribute it to the prospective employers. And that is a very important part, not just from the point of view of being a fresher, but in this industry or any industry for that matter, networking. Now, networking heavily, reaching out to the prospective employers, whether or not they are coming for the placements, is perhaps the most important thing that you should do, that anyone should do, because that really has a very positive impact on the prospective employers. That okay, someone reached out to me, they think that I'm important, and they have structured their profile in a manner that it would be relevant for me. That's a very essential thing to do. So if a company is coming for placement, know in advance who will be the people who will be coming. Reach out to them directly on LinkedIn. And people respond. Like 80% of the people will respond if you are from a good college, especially if the company is coming for placement. Second thing, if the company is not coming, but if it's your dream company, and if you think that, okay, you would really like to want to go there, reach out to people. And reach out to people with something in hand. What I used to do was I used to create some research reports by myself, like equity research reports you might have seen. I used to create those myself. Whenever I would drop my resume, I will drop my research report as well. So that used to have very positive impact. That okay, someone has already researched, somebody has that thought process. So that's something that could help as well.
So basically, you need to show to the company how committed you are to that process or that role and what you have done in and around in order to achieve that goal. And the certifications and
Indeed.
being part of those community
Certifications, certifications, and being in the community, being in the club, that really helps.
Yes, sir. So apart from that, I mean, people ask me that all my friends there's a discussion that what does a recruiter look at when he sees a CV of a person? Because the CV, what should it reflect to you? What does it say to you that you shortlist a person and you do not shortlist a person? What criteria do you look at? Means how does a CV reflect to you that you shortlist that person?
So essentially, I would tell you from the perspective of a private equity. I'll tell you from both the perspectives. If I'm currently in a job in a private equity and I'm looking for a person who has uh, whom I want to recruit at an associate level or even senior to me VP level, I would look for the person who has already done has some experience in the field of investment banking or private equity already, or has comes from the known brands. So those are the very important aspects. But I think this discussion is more oriented towards the college students and not that work experience students. So or let's say the people who have a less number of experience. So one of the important things that I see in a resume is how much passion can you show in the resume itself. Like for example, when I was at 21, I had already done my certified financial planner. I used to write on the top that okay, cleared all the 5 exams of certified financial planner, and in one go, one attempt. Besides that, the internships. Where exactly did you intern? There will be a lot of internships that will come from the college. Some of them will be relevant, some of them might not be relevant. But if you actually have shown some internship in a good firm, in which you were doing financial work, that really has a positive impact as well. So show some companies which are very prominent in the field of internships, very prominent in the field of finance, and write down pretty bullet wise, like what exactly impact did you create. Nobody wants you to eat the fluff. A person shortlisted an interview within 6 seconds. It's very important that you write bulleted points, sharp points. What exactly did you do, and what impact did you create? It's not about writing in one paragraph the whole JD that you paste in a CV. That's never going to work. The bullet points, the sharp points. What exactly did you do? Besides that, never exceed a CV for more than 1 page. And there are a lot of resumes that I see uh, from freshers, and they're like running in 2-3 pages. Nobody has got time to, and that's a red flag for us. Never send a CV in a Word document. Always send in a PDF. Highlight the keywords, where that's very important. If you're going to put a lot of information, highlight the keywords, because again, 6 seconds, you want to someone to actually see what exactly are the important points. Then obviously it should be in chronological order. Like for example, for an experienced professional, first thing would be the work experience that would be coming, and then and what exactly, which firms did he do the work, then the education, then the professional qualifications, and then the interest and hobby. I don't necessarily create any interest in hobby just for the sake of creating. Like people write n number of things, and then when asked to interview, they won't know. Hobby means you are really very good at it. Like I love to travel, okay, and before Omicron hit, within the month of December, within 2 weeks, I was traveling at 2 different places. So I would want to be like, if someone is writing traveling, every month or every 2 months, you must have visited somewhere. That's called traveling. That's called being, uh, having a hobby of traveling. I used to write reading. It was in 10th standard that I read last book, and then I cannot write reading as my hobby. That's a very big red flag, and people have caught me, and that's when I corrected. So write relevant things, write things that you have done, that you are really do. Those things are important.
Things that you will be able to justify in the interview.
Yeah, exactly. Look, people are very smart. People gauge whether in, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, what exactly is the substance of a person. And it sometimes I end the interview within 15 minutes, sometimes I run it for 1 hour. Totally depends. Okay. So people are smart. Write the things which you have done. Don't write like rubbish or anything like that.
And so how important it is to keep your CV updated and modify it according to the role that you are being offered, according to the company what it's looking for. So how important is this point when you are presenting your CV to your prospective client?
So there are two aspects of it. I wouldn't say that you should be modifying your CV a lot, because then you'll be faking a lot. As a fresher, there are only limited things you might have done, or let's say even at an MBA grad who has 2 or 3 years of experience, there are only limited things that you have done. And it would be like if you want to shift from finance to marketing, then you're pretty much not clear yourself what you want to do. If you want to actually create 2 different kinds of JDs, one for finance, one for marketing, you're definitely not clear. Although I agree that within a particular domain as well, there are multiple kinds of jobs. If within finance, I talk about there are CFO kind of jobs, there are finance functions kind of jobs, that is. Then there are quantitative finance kind of jobs. Then there are, let's say, research kind of jobs. Then there are private equity investment banking kind of jobs. For all those aspects, there could be some tweaks made. Okay. In a finance manager kind of a job, it's important to highlight, or let's say research kind of a job, it's important to highlight your attention to detail. That is not to say that, okay, it is not important in IB or P, but in IBP, what is more important is your ability to actually research on different domains, different companies, being able to give an investment thesis or something like that. But in case of like finance kind of a job, you should have a very strong knowledge about the financial statements and all. So there won't be very a big difference between the different CVs. What I would say is, according to JD, adapt it, but don't make it totally different. That it doesn't reflect you at all. It ends up not reflecting you. It still has to reflect you. That's very important. Okay,
What you're
make
suggesting for
tweaks,
is
but
minor
not
tweaks.
minor tweaks. I mean, there are few things people would have done, and you just can't present it. I understand. Okay, in MBA we learn 10 different things of presenting something. Go type to a tree or something. We can write 10 different essays on that, but don't do that. Like that won't reflect you then.
Yes, sir. So once the CV gets shortlisted, I think the most part that people look forward to is the interview. So you must have qualified for a number of interviews. You must have taken a number of interviews. So how do you tackle an interview, and how do you tackle when it's a stress situation where you are given situations, you are given being on-spot solutions. There are a lot of interviews where you have to give on-spot solutions to problems. So how do you tackle these
Mhm.
interviews? How do you go about these interviews?
Sure. So one thing, basically I'll talk about the private equity and investment banking jobs and the kind of interviews that I'm going to ask for. One thing that you should always have in your mind is an investment pitch. Like what exactly have one company and one industry on which you have thorough knowledge about, and then you cannot let the interview sway in any other direction. Okay. Whenever I start an interview, after a brief introduction of 2-3 minutes, the first thing that I ask is pitch me a company. Why should I invest in that particular company? There are a few things that I ask. You have got 15 minutes to present yourself. Uske baad I'll ask questions. For 15 minutes, I want to learn from you what exactly does the company do? Which products does it sell? What services does it provide? What How does it compete against a competition? What is the moat of the company? Why would the customers keep coming back to it? Well, how does the industry look like? What are the characteristics of the industry? What are the parameters on which a company would be successful in a particular industry? How has a company grown so far? How will it grow in future? What will be the expected growth rate and all that stuff? All those things are very important. Like to have one company and one industry in mind whenever you are sitting for an interview. When it comes to the stress questions, obviously, nobody is prepared for that, and nobody is looking for the right answer. Nobody. What we are looking for is a thought process. Okay? What we are looking for is, let's say, your ability to remain calm in those particular situations. First of all, never you will be asked a question of which you don't know anything about. Like if you're starting with a particular company, then you should know everything about that company. If you're starting with that particular industry, then you should know. If an interviewer asks you, you have to tell him the fact. You have to tell him what exactly has happened. But if an interviewer asks you something out of the blue, and you don't know, you can first of all tell that okay, this is not something I track. But second, the most important part is, in fact, more important part is, you should be able to get to an answer. And that is a skill that is very much appreciated in this industry. To actually know the answer, not know the answer, but to be able to devise the answer by hook or crook. And that's what the interviewers check for. That's They check for your thought process. What exactly led you to that particular answer? Like, what assumptions did you make? What things did you consider? What was in your historical experience that you think was led to this particular uh, answer? So those are the things that people are looking for, and that's I would say the way to tackle the stress situation. Never never start crying. People do that. Always keep a smile and always answer calmly, answer never do I would say people start uh, actually running words they will start speaking very fast in order to confuse the other person. They are getting confused themselves. Be calm, answer carefully, and you will be able to sail through. There's no problem.
So basically, your approach to the problem and your thought process is the main thing that the interviewer is
Yeah,
checking.
yeah. You would have heard it from many people. I'm sure. I'm not telling you anything new. You would have read it on Google as well. Again, I'm not telling you, but this is actually the most important. This is something that interviewers judge on. This is not a lie.
So based on your previous answer, I remember one of the incidents that a senior shared with us, that you said to be persistent with the company that you want to go in, message them on LinkedIn, search about them. One of our seniors always used to message a company that he wanted to go in, and when that company
Mhm.
came to our campus, he was the only person he was recruited, and the company because
Yeah,
company came because of him only, because we have never seen such a
indeed.
person who's so persistent.
Indeed. I'll give you my example. Graduating from IIM Ahmedabad, I had 6 job offers. Okay. And I had one job offer from the campus as well in a EV company, EV startup. I did not end up joining. Out of those 6 offers, I actually had reached out to each one of them. 5 were in investment banking, one was in fund. And in that particular fund, I eventually took, but I had reached out to all of them. I must have reached out to almost 200 people in the process of 1 year. And out of that, I've managed to convince, let's say, 20 people to take my interview. I managed to convert 5 jobs out of 6 jobs out of that. So it's very important, to reaching out to people, and people are helpful. The people are helpful to they think that okay, he would gain from my experience. Obviously, not everyone's gonna respond, but people in general are gonna respond.
So gives us an idea that if you are persistent with what you want to achieve, it will come back to you in some way or the other. You will reach your goal.
Indeed, indeed,
So, sir,
indeed, indeed.
yes. Sir. So once the person has cracked the interview, he has gone into the finance domain. I want to learn from you that what will be his journey from starting at obviously at a learning position at a trainee position in a company to going climbing up the ladder. What's the journey? What is he going to learn? What are the experiences that you have in this journey? And
Mhm.
what can you share with us about how you should go about in order to reach where someone was maybe a CFO of a company? So what process or blueprint should he follow?
Sure, sure. That's a very important part here. मतलब कि cracking the interview and getting the job is just first step. And I totally agree that it's a uphill from there. It's like people say that okay, get into IIT, your life is sorted. Life is never sorted. You have to work hard all the time, like till the time you retire. My managing partner, who's a founder of a company, is 55-year-old. Still, he works like 14 to 15 hours every day, including the weekends. So life is a struggle. It will keep on happening. That's the one thing. Second thing, the specific steps, if you ask me, I would say that there are few things that your job will entail that you will be required to do. There are few things that you should do over and above the job. That okay, I'm not saying that kill your personal time, kill your weekends, kill your after office hours, but few times, like at least for 50 to 60% of the times, do something over and above the job, and that's a very important part to differentiate yourself. Second thing I would say is to create a brand for yourself. There's no position in the world for a generalized person. There's no position at all. Create a specialization. Create a particular domain in which you have the expertise. There at least should be 2 3 domains, in fact. You have to know each and everything about it. And those experts are highly valued when it comes to within company as well as outside the company. That's very important. Third thing I would say is listen to your people, listen to people in the company, what they are sharing, what they are telling. They are actually have experience, and what I want to tell here is that have a good attitude. Have a attitude in which you want to learn, in which you would be making a lot of mistake in which you will be having a trial and error approach, and you will be like there will be 10 things that you will be asked to do. Out of that, only two things go to the final draft. Listen to company, have a good attitude. That is very important. Never say no. You could say no, obviously. Matlab ki people have their personal space as well, and there should be uh, proper work-life balance. But at a stage when you are entering, when you are starting the career, that's a stage when you can learn the most. That's a stage when you have to show a lot of enthusiasm in whatever you do, and that's a stage in which you have to like very receptive towards work. You have to have a good attitude. That's very important. And besides that, keep honing skills. Like if you are an undergrad who has just entered finance, within a couple of years, go for an MBA. Very important. If you are an MBA, go for a CFA. Very important. And keep trying new things. Keep honing skills. Like if a particular, you think that, okay, you were an engineer. In MBA, you learned some finance, but you eventually got placed in an investment banking job. Then even then it's not that okay, you shouldn't know about the fundamental of finance, financial analysis. You should keep honing them. You should keep listening to people, keep reading stuff, keep practicing stuff. So that's where like you keep on growing and be aware of what's happening in the world. Again, like I probably should have told you earlier, be aware of the financial world. Be aware because whatever you do is directly correlated to what's happening in the world, and you should be aware of like what exactly what am I doing is happening in the outside world. So one thing, it makes your job interesting. Second, it helps you stand out in the from the crowd as well if you know exactly what's happening. Now the tech stocks are going down, particular Nasdaq is dipping, your its effect would be felt in India. Indian Sensex dropped in last week. Why exactly all this happening? Because central banks are reducing the quantitative easing. They're increasing the interest rates. All that will make the money expensive, and that will reduce the liquidity in the system. That's very important. Like, have to have a thorough knowledge about what's happening in the financial world. It really helps when you are in meetings, when you are talking to people, when you are presenting something, and you are able to express this viewpoint.
The three things that I got is have the right attitude, keep yourself updated
Mhm.
about what's happening in and around you, and keep your skills
Mhm.
updated because the greater skills you have,
Mhm.
difficult to replace you.
Yeah, yeah. Skills updated as well as have some specialization. You know, have something in which you would be called a domain expertise. There is no place for generalized person. I'm telling you, no place at all.
And sir, if you can add another doubt that a lot of people reach a certain stage of stagnation in their career, which after a few years, this is where they have reached, and they are no longer able to rise up from this place, or means they are not able to reach the next level. So people who reach this kind of stagnation in their career, what is your advice for them, and how should they go about means getting to the next level?
Sure. So that's something I can really elaborate upon because I have gone through that myself. So when I was at BlackRock, I spent 5 years. Now at BlackRock, definitely I did brilliant. It was a fabulous company. I was doing well in the job and I was loving my job. But I had gotten very comfortable in my job as well because I knew, okay, within first 2 years I had learned everything, learned most of the things, and then uh, when you are on execution stuff, you will be mostly getting some work. You know exactly how things need to be done, and you just get it done. Uh, it's about getting comfortable in the job, and I got very comfortable, and because of that, I got stagnated. Because of that, after 3 4 years, I realized that okay, this is not particular aspect in which I am able to grow, and that's when you have some self-reflection exercises. That's when you do, okay, is it something I want in my career or not? Many people are fine with stagnation as well. I'll be honest with you. Many people are fine after having a comfortable job, haven't gotten married, have got children and all. They're fine staying in some like working in middle office, back office kind of work, and they're fine having such a structure. But the people who want to grow, the people who want to get out of stagnation, it's particularly important for them. And from them, they need to do something different that they have historically done. Like for me, I had two choices. Either I do quantitative finance, like I become a uh, extremely proficient in mathematics and statistics. I learned some programming languages. I'm able to do some extensive financial modeling using R, C++, and all. Or I completely shift my domain and I enter the equity domain. Uh, Private equity, public equity, that's a separate domain, but I enter the equity stuff. I chose the latter. I basically quantitative finance. I knew that okay, probably not my cup of the tea. I am a commerce graduate, not a person. I'm not an engineer. I cannot compete against all the engineers or statisticians who are in the market, specifically in quantitative finance. And for equity, I actually started relearning. The only way to get out of stagnation is to actually relearn. There's no other way. The only way, if you know, first of all, where do you want to go, and hopefully, like after 3 4 years, one would know where does he want to go. Like obviously, as a fresher, it's tougher, but after 3 4 years, if he's feeling stagnant, then he should be aware like what exactly he wants to do in life. And if you know what exactly you want to do in life, work towards it. My idea was that when I want to shift from fixed income to private equity, that is like 360-degree shift. Nobody does that. Like to the extent that I know, I don't know anyone who has done that. Like I did that. I was able to do only because for 6 months I prepared myself only with the equity stuff. Shifted to different fields, spent 2 years there, learned a lot about private equity. Went to do an MBA, learned, had already financial knowledge, learned business skills in MBA, was able to combine them together and got the job in private equity. So have got stagnated, but have come out of it only because I was ready to relearn. Many people won't be ready, and that's not how it's going to work. You have to like push yourself to do more.
It's because even I have heard from people who come with work ex, who come into an MBA with a 4 years, 5 years work ex. But when they get to sit to study, they're like, we're not able to concentrate. They're just gone,
Yeah, yeah,
they lost the hang of it.
yeah. I'm telling you, like I decided to do my MBA after 6 years of graduating. After almost 3 years of completing my CFA only. It was such a huge pain in the ass at that time to even sit for the preparation for GMAT. Like I prepared for 5 months, and I definitely couldn't have done anything more than that. I was like, it used to be very difficult to actually prepare for that. Besides having a job in which you are spending 10 to 12 hours every day, almost. So yeah, I mean it's tough, but yeah, people have to do what they have to do.
If you have to grow, then you have to put in the effort.
Yeah. Effort, struggle. Again, if you don't want to grow, you're comfortable in life, that's also an option. But if you want to grow, you have to put in effort.
Yes, sir. And if you can talk about your association with Grow Junction and the workshop that you would be conducting, and what would the candidate get out of it, and what's your plan of how you would be conducting that workshop, and what you want to deliver to the candidate that will be taken in that workshop. So if you can give us an idea about it.
So first of all, kudos to you guys. I think you guys are doing fabulous job, and you guys are enabling the freshers or the aspiring minds to connect with the relevant individuals. I'll tell you one thing, like I've committed a lot of mistakes, and there have been many instances uh, which I think if I had not had done, or which I had done, I probably would have another level of career. Like obviously I think I'm successful. The reason that you are interviewing me or like considering me for a podcast is because I you think that I'm successful, but definitely I could have been on another level, another plane altogether. The mistake, the 80% of the reason of that mistake was because I did not have mentor. or because I did not think that I need a mentor, or because let's say I did not know that okay, there's something called mentors as well. So I don't know what I don't know, kind of a thing, like another level of Johari window. So that was a thing with me. And if I had gotten a mentor early in my career, after I had joined BlackRock, after I had spent like 2 3 years there, and or let's say not just 2 3 years after I had joined BlackRock, only after graduating, probably my career would have been a different level. So I think you guys are doing a fabulous job. The people who are willing to learn, the people who are willing to know, and the people who like want to do the right thing, they need mentors and they need guidance in their career. And you guys are connecting the guide, the person who provides the guidance and the person who needs the guidance. I think I'm grateful to be associated with you guys. The mistakes that I have done, I would definitely not want the people to repeat them.
And sir, as you also pointed out while giving the answers, that it's very important to have specialization. So that's also something that Grow Junction is looking into. Is you have marketing, but in marketing also or in finance also, there are multiple spheres that you can get into. So it's very important
Indeed,
to
indeed.
have that specialization from the get-go, which you do not get in MBA colleges these days.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, indeed. So in MBA college, say if I tell you about IIM Ahmedabad, there was no specialization as such. You needed to choose the electives that you think would be suitable for you. I chose most of my electives as finance, like 70% finance, 30% a mix of marketing and operations, because obviously one needs to be aware of that as well. Within finance, obviously there are multiple things. And if I could tell you like the basic things like a person should aspire for the job in private equity or investment banking. Those are the holy grails of finance. There's nothing and nothing over that. Okay, those are the best finance jobs which have the which pay the best, which deserve the highest, or which earn the highest level of respect. So those are the things that you can target. Besides that, if you're quantitatively oriented, if you have been an engineer, if you are very good in mathematics and you like doing and statistical analysis to come up with the conclusions, you like handling a lot of data sets. The quantitative finance is a very huge domain as well. People pay buckloads of money, truckload of money to the hedge funds specifically, to these people who are very good in quant and can actually give a create right kind of models. And besides that, apart from that, obviously, if you're fundamentally oriented, other jobs that I would suggest is become a portfolio manager in a public equity domain, or after that, I would suggest going for research, equity research or fixed income research. Those are again very good job opportunities. Post that, I would say the support services come into picture, the operations, consulting, and all that. But I would tell that okay, this is generally a pecking order. But again, uh, this is from the point of view of finance. Obviously, in other specialization, there will be other pecking order. We'll be happy to discuss them in detail if anyone wants a specific like option. If one is actually confused between option A and option B, or option C, in fact, different firms, different profiles, what exactly should he choose? But that's generally how it ranks.
If you want to give a final piece of advice for someone who wants to make his career, maybe spend 40, 50 years in the financial domain, how is his life going to be? How is work-life balance going to be? Means how is the finance domain or the finance industry in general? If you want to give a final piece of advice to a MBA grad like me, to a bachelor grad who's doing a BBA in some college, if he wants to go into the financial industry, what is his life going to be? And if one golden rule or golden philosophy that you have, if you want to share that with us.
Sure. I mean, most of the things I've already shared. And to be honest, it's not going to be very different from that. One thing that I can probably tell you guys is that in finance field as well, there are 10 different things that you can choose. And whether you want work-life balance, whether you want growth, whether you want to learn, or whether you want to pay, accordingly, there are many kinds of profiles. So if you're working in a back office kind of a role or middle office kind of a role, in a KPO setup, even then you can actually, like, that's one of the good domains to operate in. But if you want to grow, get out of that within a couple of years. Get out of that and go in for a front end domain. That's where life would be more tough. Obviously, in the front end domain, there pretty much no work life balance, especially in the field of finance, if I tell you. And but the pay would be higher, the long term benefits would be much better. So choose your battle accordingly. Like if you want work life balance, if you want less growth, then think from the perspective that in the long term you might suffer. And keep that in mind that in the long term, probably you're not going to make as much money as the person who has chosen to be in the front end job, who is working there, who is as smart to be able to in a front end job. So keep all those aspects in mind. That's very important.
Yes, sir. So it was really awesome interacting with you because I am a marketing person, but I have never listened even to my finance class with such interest because the way,
Oh, okay.
the way you cleared everything, the way you answered was really encouraging. And hope people who join this workshop, who join the sessions, they'll get a lot out of it because I got gold mine of information about how to make my PE for my final placements, how to check for interviews with what mindset. I got a truckload of information. So thank you, sir, for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Thank you for giving your time to us.
No worries at all. Looking forward to working with you guys and helping other aspiring minds in the future. Thank you.